Welcome to the Top Listing Agent Show, the place to be to stay on the cutting edge of what it takes to sell more homes in less time. Each week, your host, Chadi Bazzi, will share with you the best skill sets, systems, and strategies so you can become a top listing agent. And now, let the show begin.
Hey, Chadi B here, and welcome to another episode of the Top Listing Agent Show. This episode today is going to be completely different than any other episode that we've done before. The conversation is going to be much more relevant in a very unique way. And I say unique way, it's because it's not the typical conversation that most people are having on a daily basis, when in essence, I think they really are without even knowing it, because they're saying, I want a specific something, but ain't nobody in the real estate world talking about how to get this specific something. And you'll discover what the specific something is in a few moments once I introduce my guest, Mr. Mazen Baisa. Did I pronounce it?
Thank you, Chadi. Yes,
did I butcher your last name?
I think we're just missing the music a little bit.
That's it. Awesome.
That's great, Chadi.
So, hey, I'm very excited to have you here. This is the first kind of episode where we have like literally a non-real estate agent on the show. But, you know, for the people who are watching this video and or listening to this podcast, just because I said he's not in the real estate industry doesn't necessarily mean he cannot impact your real estate business. As a matter of fact, he could, even at a higher level than I possibly can, when you combine what I've been sharing with you and what he is going to share with you. So, Mazen, will you please introduce yourself to the world and, you know, in a minute or less?
Yeah, thank you so much, Chadi. And I'm so excited to be here today. I think when Chadi was telling me, Mazen, I got to get you into our podcast, I was like, that's amazing, because I've been watching some of your stuff. I've been watching some of the comments some of your listeners have been putting, and you guys have been doing a great job. And you as audience, I just got to tell you, probably one of the smartest, most kind of greatest comments that I've actually been seeing. And I've been commenting in some of them. Mm-hmm. So thank you for everything you do. And I realize as a real estate agent, you're out there on the road. I have not been a real estate agent, but I can tell you that I value the real estate agent so much. A lot of my friends are. A lot of the programs that I've actually developed and worked on, I had the real estate agents in mind. And you guys are truly enablers of dreams, of people getting into their homes and creating their families and doing amazing things. So thank you for what you do every day. I'm Mazen Baisa, and I am the founder of Maximal. I serve entrepreneurs, busy professionals like real estate agents and business owners to increase their wealth by improving their health.
I like that. More money and more energy.
That's right. Exactly. Because without health, we cannot build the foundation to anything. It's a reality. Health builds the foundation to our ambitions, to our dreams, to our energy, to our focus, and to our businesses. And without it, nothing works.
Got it. Man, how long have you been in the industry, and why should someone listen to you?
Yeah, I've been in the industry of health and wellness for over 12 years now. Okay. And I've actually been focusing on the component. Look, for many years of my life, I've worked as a pharmacist. So you may hear some science and a little bit geekiness here and there. That's just the pharmacist part of me, but I think you'll love it and you'll enjoy some of the science that we bring, because our whole life is based on science, and there's cutting edge science that I'll talk about today about the performance and energy and focus. But overall is, at one point, money was good. I was really, I looked so good on financial report. My income was rising. Things were happening. I built a company from scratch, with some other founders, and we were reaching north of 25 millions in sales.
Wow.
Over 100 employees and team members that we helped them to establish their careers and manage their careers. But while my financial reporting was going higher, my internal and health report was falling apart. And that's the reality that many of us as successful individuals and achievers, we end up facing what I call the success paradox.
Okay.
We trade things, all right? And one of the very basic things and the first things we start to trade is our health to make wealth. And it's something we always tell ourselves, like, the more money I make later on, that's what it takes right now. That's just the name of the game. I just got to compete. I got to grind. And there's definitely some truth to that. To actually make success happen is, you got to actually work hard. You have to have hard work ethics. You got to do what you got to do to make that happen. But we cannot let our health to be the last thing that we think about.
Do you notice that in the real estate industry, amongst your friends and the people like in my environment, etc., seem to be like, I don't know. I mean, the best way I can do it is, I always hear the complaints of like, I just can't get myself to focus.
Yeah.
or, I just don't have the energy, or, a very popular term is I'm burned out.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is really interesting you saying that, Shadi, because big part of, the work I do and the message that I'm trying to put in there, how a successful individual and a good achiever could sustain their performance, sustain their energy, sustain their focus without burning out. Because burnout, when it happens, everything starts to fall apart. Right?
Is it just like that in the real estate industry or amongst a lot of entrepreneurs? I know you work with high-level entrepreneurs all over the country and in different industries. Is it like that just for the people in the real estate industry, you think, or is just, in general for all kind of entrepreneurs?
It's a universal fact. It is
Okay.
definitely universal. And that's the beauty about this, like the things we talk about today, and we're going to talk about Shadi, is it's really applicable to any achiever.
Okay.
Regardless if real estate, like a loan officer or a banker, it is really applicable. But particularly for real estate agents, it's the reality. You guys are out communicating with people, in front of people. I mean, think about yourself. How good are you in a hospital bed? Chad, you tell me, how good a real estate agent in a hospital bed, sick and IV tubes are stuck to it?
I don't even want to think about that, Mazen.
It's hard, right? And it's really, it does kind of brings a point sometimes, like, you know what, I know health is important. I know I got to take care of my health, but it's okay. We could wait.
Yeah.
But the reality, no, it can't. Every 40 seconds, a person drops to the floor from a heart attack.
You got to be kidding me. I didn't even know that those things.
Yes, and most of them more heart attacks happen in men than women.
Okay.
So
woman?
yes, there's a lot of other things ladies actually have to deal with, but
Right.
particularly in men, and
Right.
and that's something I'm really passionate about, helping others not to get into that state, because part of my change of my story, because sometimes the question comes like, Mazen, how did you change? You were building this business and you made good money and all that, then why did you change? And big change for me, it was really because of two reasons. Number one, as I was building the businesses, I said I was ignoring what my body was reporting to me. So I was 40 pounds heavier.
Oh.
And that's in 3 years. That's how fast I gained that much weight.
Wow.
Yes.
So for the new real estate agents who just got their license,
yes.
be careful.
Yeah. And the weight is one thing, right? The look is one thing, but how it makes you feel.
Right.
Is another
It's
thing,
it's
right?
more important, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, like, there's some days in the past, I think for over a year and a half, probably, I did not want to look at myself in the mirror. Because every time I looked, especially naked, it's like,
I don't want to see that. But...
Yeah. But it's true. And it's a test sometimes to the individual. It's like, how comfortable are you with what's going on outside of your body? And imagine the havoc that is happening inside the body, right? But overall, why we talk about health here and why health is so important, because without it, we have no energy, we have no focus. And if we actually even able to achieve certain things and able to do certain things, imagine the level that this achievement could be higher if we could really amplify our self-care and taking care of our health.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things that we're going to talk about today, and I know for people that are listening, they'll be like, health, science.
Right.
I know it's important. I don't feel like listening to this. But I think the reason you definitely want to pay attention to this and maybe even watch this video or listen to this podcast more than once is because, the constant conversation that you are always having with me and or your mentors, your gurus, your brokers, your associates is, how can I become more productive? How can I close more deals, etc. So correct me if I'm wrong. I think a lot of what we're going to talk about today is going to be in direct correlation with how productive they are and how much money they make.
Absolutely. Everything I've really been doing research on, and I've been, doing a lot of work on the neurobiology of success and the science of peak performance, the psychology of achievement, and all that is about increasing productivity, increasing production, sustaining that production. Because you see, it's easy for someone to say, I made these much deals, or I closed this much, of deals this week, or I did this much prospecting this week. But sustaining that and the consistency of doing it, and that's where true success comes.
Yeah, and then in this industry we have this, this
yes.
is the
roller coaster.
I'm up, I'm down, up energy, down energy, up income, down income.
Certainly.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'd rather just go like this slowly, but there's a way to go like this and keep going, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's And it all starts with what we do on our day.
Okay,
and how we start our day.
So let's do you have a framework for that, or do you have something that you can share with our audience on how they can best begin their day every single day?
Yes, it is something that I've actually been researching. I've been applying myself for the past few years, and I'm going to share with you 4 things that I've discovered, again, from a lot of the science, and I don't want to bore you with a lot of the science, so just take my word for it. It is cutting edge science ingrained in the principles of the ages, right? And you know it, Chad, like you look at the most successful real estate agents, right? And I'm talking about running companies or running things. They take their health very seriously, and they take their mornings particularly very seriously. And I know we all hear about, oh, make your morning better, listen to something good, listen to something positive. But to truly actually look at our mornings and take in a portion of it. And I say 15 minutes in the morning can transform the trajectory of your next 15 hours of your day.
So what you're telling me is if I focus for 15 minutes every single morning on a specific something, and I'm sure you're going to share what the something is with me every single,
You got it. That's the part you got to pay for, Chad.
Okay, no problem. I'll pay you, and they don't have to pay. Oh, I got you.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. And the reason why I'm saying that, there's so much going on about the morning routines. And we hear it, right? Like, if you go on Google right now, what are the morning routines of the most successful? What are the morning routines of the best real estate agents? There is a lot. But a lot of it is really opinions. Okay. And a lot of it, sometimes, yes, we need to model some of the good behaviors, but sometimes people model the action, but they don't model the mindset. And they don't model and understand why that person is doing this. I mean, I'll give you an example. Tony Robbins, right? Like he goes and dips himself in, like in one of those ice frozen, like holes and that has water and buckets and all that, which is great. And there's actually a reason for it. Now, some people are like, okay, I'd like to do this every day, but they don't understand why he's doing that.
First of all, I would not do it.
That's good. There's reasons and there's whys for everything, But going back into the framework of how to truly take 15 minutes of the morning. Now, look, I say 15. There's a lot of people tell you, take an hour or 2. I know we're busy. We got a lot of things going on. We're trying to achieve, we're trying to amplify productivity, increase our focus, magnify our energy. But at the end of the day, we still have things to run. So everything I keep thinking about it is if it's not simple, if it's not practical, and if it's not sustainable, it's not going to happen.
So it's got to be simple,
practical,
and sustainable.
Okay. Right? And 4 things that I've discovered from, the cutting edge science out there in the research and really, again, the principles of the ages. Number 1, which is sometimes it'll be like, oh, this is so common sense. Sometimes common sense is not commonly practiced.
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
And that's where people get, unfortunately, not to get the results they want because they're like, oh, I know this. The question, are you doing it?
Yeah.
Are you doing it every day? And are you doing it consistently?
Right.
Right? And are you building on top of these habits and the routines? So one of the first morning things I would share, when it comes to the routine is absolutely protecting our mornings.
Okay.
We are bombarded by so many things these days.
So if they're writing down the framework, number 1, they write down
protect your morning.
Protect the morning.
Yes. And how do you do that? By not adding more things into your morning, but by subtracting certain things. And I know recently, Chadi, you've actually had a nice quote about this. Because the reality is, the more you read and the more you see in the news and the more you see on some of the, what is this person doing? Oh, he's doing well, so I'm going to follow what he's doing. You keep adding and adding and adding. But we really need to start with is first, let's eliminate and subtract the things that are not working.
Right.
Then create a space to add. Things, right?
Do you have an exercise or something that you can, share and expand on that? Because it's like, there's a lot of people that are like, well, yeah, I just don't know what to subtract before I add something. So, I mean, do you have like an idea or something?
I do, because it's big, because I dealt with that issue myself, right? It's like, how do I protect my money? Like, what am I supposed to subtract from it? And I came to realization there's 3 things that are really, robbing our attention and our focus. Number 1, in the morning, the last thing you want to really is actually text, go check text messages. Because as soon as you open your eye to text messages, social media, and emails, which is the 3 things probably most real estate agents are doing because they feel like, I got to get on top of my game. That's what I take.
Right.
What happens? You're not going after your own agenda anymore.
No.
You're serving someone else's agenda.
That's right.
This could be a client. It could be the boss sometimes, but It's not your agenda, and it's not your 15 minutes anymore.
Right.
It's someone else's 15 minutes, right? So there are three things I would say to subtract in the morning and eliminate. And again, I don't say subtract this for 3 hours because I get it. We got emails to respond to, we got texts that we need to respond to, we got social media things that we need to work on. I'm talking about just the first 15 minutes to protect our focus, to amplify our energy, to allow our brain to operate at the highest vibrancy that we can and highest frequency that it could operate on. We need to reduce and actually eliminate looking at our phones for text messages, looking at our phones for news, and looking at our phones for emails. Chadi, when was the last time you opened your phone and, wow, amazing news that inspired you?
Yeah, I can't think of a last.
It's either this person killed this person, or this person robbed this person, or
right.
like this war is happening in this part of the world. How do you think that is? What is that feeding into our mind and depositing early thoughts into our mind?
Well, it's not just what it's feeding in the mind. It's triggering a negative emotion, I believe. It's like like you see something. For example, you bump into something sad, and you're like, oh man, how horrible. The moment you say that. And your body reaction, you react like this, and your head is down, and now you are, your state has been altered.
Absolutely, yes, and it's really amazing because that goes into there's a psychological phenomenon we call it's the emotional contagion, right? Where like you probably actually use this as a real estate agent even with your clients, and you notice that if you change your state or you could make your client to be more energetic.
Right.
I mean, if you're laughing, a client probably will start to laugh, right? If you're energetic, you may lift up their energy even if they're tired. And that's really the emotional contagion. As human beings, our brains have mirror neurons, means each brain cell has a mirror and it matches whatever is seen with energy, with state.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's why, again, you see the most leaders and the most successful individuals, they really, really hone in those 15 minutes in the morning. And these three things are usually most likely eliminated from their day.
Okay.
So text messages, news, and social media, first 15 minutes, consider it to be yours. Because as soon as you let that gate open, it's not yours anymore.
Right. Okay.
That's how I like to think about it. Every time and look, it's actually, I challenge you to do this for the next 2 weeks, and you'll see how hard it is to resist the temptation.
Right. I'm already thinking, can I resist the temptation?
Yeah. Even though it's 15 minutes in your mind, you're like, man, because these things were built to take our attention. These things were built to take our focus. So when somebody asks, how can I improve my focus and attention? I'd say first, again, subtract before you start to add things into the day. So once you subtract that, and I think these are three elemental things, again, common sense probably for some of you, but not really commonly practiced. And there's a lot of science why that is, Then I would add 4 things into our day or into the morning in the 15 minutes. Number 1, hydrate. That's the first action we do. And for you as a real estate agent, hydrate with water.
Oh, water.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know what you're hydrating with. Now, I was like, dude, you're telling me to drink water that's going to improve my focus or productivity and all that? Absolutely it will. Because why? What do you think 80% of the brain is? It's water. 70% of our body is water. So, and most of us, believe it or not, are dehydrated when we wake up in the morning because we sweat and we breathe out almost quarter of a bottle of fluids out of our body by the time we wake up. So most of us wake up dehydrated. Now, for a real estate agent, why is that important? Because 1 to 2% dehydration, which could happen overnight, every day, could actually reduce mental processing, Chadi, by 20%.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So if I could give you something, it's like, hey, I can give you one thing that would increase your mental processing by 20% or more. Would you consider doing that every day?
Absolutely. So how much water are we talking about? How many ounces? Is it 1 cup?
Good point. Yeah. And I actually, that's the thing, in everything probably you listen to in the future of me, that I give very practical things and I get very tactical. So my recommendation is keep at least 8 to 16 ounce bottle or a glass of water next to your bed the night before.
And just guzzle that sucker down.
As soon as you wake up in the morning, it's because we have to develop it in a way that it becomes automated. Otherwise, it doesn't happen.
Great. So make it a habit.
Make it a habit. If you think about it, I got to go downstairs or go to the kitchen.
You're not going to do it.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
You got to make it so simple, and that's why simple comes first, that no thinking about it. You wake up, you can maybe brush your teeth, and then just go actually drink your water.
Right.
And that's about 8 to 16 ounces, right? So it's a large glass or just literally a bottle if a person just likes to get bottles.
Does it matter if it's a plastic bottle or a glass bottle? Because some people talk about
good question, Chadi. Look, we could get very technical about that, right? And then there's like benefits to why use glass and like.
So let's just keep it nice and
plastic.
simple. Just drink water.
Yes, if you could achieve that first for 3 months, then you could up up the game and up level into like cool ways to add.
Yeah.
Now I realize that water sometimes is boring, and that's why I was like, if you're the kind of person who like to use essential oils, you could drop a few. If you like the person likes to put mint, you can. If you like to put a little lemon, which has great benefits,
Cucumber.
into the water, cucumber, whatever way you need to flavor, and you could store some of that from the night before in the fridge, right? And then just bring it before you go to bed. That will just give you a little bit of a refreshing feeling.
I like that.
It's possible.
I like that.
So that's number one, hydrate. Now, for a real estate agent in particular, why hydration is so important compared to many other professions.
I think because they're constantly underwater, constantly on the move, they're burning, you know what I mean?
Exactly, Shadi. Like if you think about how much energy you spend as a real estate agent, there's so much going on in your day.
There is.
Right? Phones, appointments, fires that you have to put down, cancellations, things. There's so much happening, and all that is definitely depleting some of your energy. And then most people drink caffeine, and that also depletes more. But one important piece I'm going to say about hydration, why it's so important, is that our vocal cords. How much talking do you do as a real estate agent?
A lot of talking.
A lot of talking. Where's one of the areas in our body that water, it becomes deprioritized and it's the least important to? Is our vocal cords. Your water would normally, the brain will take first, then parts of the body will take it. So if you're dehydrated, one of the first areas that get impacted is vocal cords. And I don't know if you've had this, Shadi, but sometimes in longer events for me, if I don't really hydrate 3 days before the event, if I'm speaking for 4 hours, if I'm doing an event, for like a workshop or something, it is amazing how my voice starts to change and how sore my throat starts to feel. And then people start to take lozenges and all that. They're not realizing they don't need them. They just needed to hydrate well for that time. So is that cool for real estate?
Yeah, absolutely.
Of why water is so
that.
critical to amplify your vocal cords.
Good. So I think starting next week, we're going to see people walking around with like big gallons of water.
Like in the gym, right?
Yeah.
But that's one simple thing. Again, common sense, but not commonly
Exactly.
practiced.
All right. Okay.
Number 2 is, after hydrate, is generate. Here's the thing. As soon as we wake up, for many of us, the only time we really have time for ourselves to think, self-reflect, journal, maybe do some prayer if somebody's praying, right? And meditate is that few minutes in the morning. After that, our days are so attacked by ours.
Right.
You agree, Chadi?
I agree with you. I mean, there's the children, there's the significant other, there's the family members, there's the other real estate agent, there's the lender, there's the title rep, there's the attorney, there's escrow, there's home warranty, there's inspections, there's...
The list goes on and on and on and
Yeah.
on, right? And that's the reality. But and that's why that 15 minutes is so critical. And it really does affect your 15 hours in the day, because taking that moment to generate in the morning, and I say generate means, again, meditate, do breathing exercises, and there's amazing results for that. Just take a moment to actually be mindful of your body, of yourself. The whole stuff we learn about affirmations, right? Raising your confidence level, because it's so important to do early in the morning, because brain-wise, our brain just came from a state of what we call the deep, subconscious state. And it's more effective to do that than in the afternoon, because our brain frequencies are meant to actually operate better with these kind of practices early in the morning.
So specifically, how does one generate?
So specifically, personally for me, when I like to generate, I like to do some affirmations, and I like to do a little journaling.
Okay, affirmations and journaling, which I shared with our audience multiple times on how to effectively journal. Maybe your journaling process might be different than my journaling process. I don't know. Can I walk them through that real quickly and then compare what I do?
I would love to listen to what you do.
Or you might endorse it and say, yeah, that would work. Yeah. And then here's another option, and let them choose what might work best for them.
I would love that.
Okay, but if for any reason, if you feel like my approach is not what in alignment with what you're teaching, please let me know, because I'm open to, even though this is working for me and my clients, I'm open to change and I'm open to growing.
Okay. I am sure because I'll talk more about journaling, but go ahead. Yeah.
So for me, the journaling is, what we begin every single morning is by writing down one thing that made us happy in the last 24 hours, because we automatically take our mind to a place of happiness in our life, showing our life that there's evidence good stuff's happening in my life. So that's number one. Number two, I write down 2 things that I'm grateful for, because, there's so much going on, in the environment that I either don't approve of or I'm not happy with or anything like that. And that makes you lose sense of like, how good you really have it. So I like to remind my mind and pinpoint that, I am grateful for all these good things that are happening in my life. Number 3, I write down my top 3 personal goals every single day so I can remind myself that this is why I woke up that morning. This is why I got to go through and plummet through the day as effectively as I possibly can, because this is what I'm committed to achieving. And number 4, I write down 4 affirmations because I want to remind myself that I am a money magnet, that I am powerful, that I am courageous, that I am a powerful leader, that I am an amazing father, etc. And just saying that, like you can tell, my whole entire state changed as I began to do the affirmation.
Yes.
and then number 5, I write down my income goal 5 times in the present tense as if it's already occurred, so I can activate the reticular activating system to remove the filter of all the abundance that's around me that's going to support me in achieving my goal.
I love that, Shadi. So powerful. So how long does that take you?
It usually takes me anywhere, depending on the morning, I'd say anywhere between 2 to 5 minutes. On a quick day, it takes me 2 minutes. On a slow day, it takes me about 4 or 5 minutes.
What you just said is amazing. Yeah. I mean, this is exactly, if we go and analyze the best journaling techniques, that is probably one of the ones that I've really loved of what you said, because you're addressing so many components. And again, we're talking about 2 to 3 minutes, maybe 2 to 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you ask about journaling, for me, it's like, just do something. Even if it's a matter of doing gratitude. If that's what it takes for you to start, that's okay. But if you're going to really up level it, what Shadi just said, and how he divided that, just powerful.
Thank you.
You've addressed really a lot of the components about journaling.
Yeah.
Number 1, the affirmations, right? Which is sometimes you think, these are, you got to talk to yourself positive. Amazing research coming out right now from Harvard and from Stanford and from many of these organizations that track performance and business schools and big CEOs. Self-talk is still one of the number 1 things that a person could do to truly increase their confidence,
right,
and get to the results that they want to do. Gratitude, so true. These days, with everything going on in the world, sometimes it's so easy to say, "Man, why is this happening to me? Why is this horrible? This client canceled." But there's so much in our lives, right, that we could definitely be grateful for.
Absolutely, yeah.
And just to remember that, and I do talk a lot about gratitude, in many of the things I actually discuss, because sometimes it is one of the most healing things that we could do, even in tough times, right? Even in the times that we feel like, what am I going to be grateful for? This is the moment you should actually think about, I got to get deeper into what I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
So what you just said is perfect. There's nothing to add. I mean,
okay,
it's wonderful.
So there you go.
Yeah. Shadi's got it. And it's all scientific, and it's all, I love it, Shadi.
A lot of my clients, it becomes a part of who they are, to the point to where they begin to see miraculous, magical results in their way of being and in their life, that it actually creates like a fear for them. And the fear is the fear of, like, if I don't do it, my abundance goes away. Okay. So that's why, one of the things that we're doing, and I don't know if it's going to be available by the time you check this out, but you want to bookmark this site, is, mymagicjournal.com is where we are actually going to be releasing this to the public, with instructions and all that good stuff. We got a bunch of testimonials and all that stuff. So you definitely want to bookmark mymagicjournal.com, which, we have the journal coming up very, very, very soon.
Wow, Shadi, that sounds like so amazing, this journal. Sign me up for it.
Give me your credit card, bro. Actually, I already have that on file, so I'll just go ahead, ding, ding.
That's right, we'll get you the new Apple Pay card that just came out.
Yeah. So look, we're talking about generate here, and we share the journaling process, etc. And inside of the journaling process, there's the affirmations and all that good stuff. And what else?
Yeah, one of the things you mentioned, which was really kind of surrounding the concept of self-talk, because about doing the affirmation, telling yourself what your future would be. And I love to hear that a little bit more. So do you visualize, or what do you exactly do in that component?
All right, so what I like to do, me personally, and then again, if you feel like there's a much more effective way, I want to know what it is, because I want to pass it on to my audience. So one of the things that I do is I actually read my vision, every single morning, which my vision is nothing more than, a few paragraphs that I've written to remind me of who is the better version of myself in the future, of why I wake up early, why I, work hard and do all the things that I do. And then what I do after I read that, Mazen, is I simply close my eyes, I breathe in, it's called inhale, right?
Mhm.
Inhale.
Yes.
I inhale.
The breathing.
Yeah. and I hold it for as long as I possibly can, release it slowly. But I'm not meditating. Me personally, I'm not meditating because my mind is still working. But the way my mind is working is I'm visualizing myself already living my vision.
I see. So it's kind of interesting you're saying that, because like in one of the components that, in one of the models that I worked on and I did a lot of research on, I call it the 4 M's from making any change, because change is a process, right?
Right.
And one of those M's is the final M, and I call it the maximal U component.
Okay.
Which is really all about self-projecting, about seeing the future now.
Yeah.
Right? And really like, what is it going to take to bring that future?
Right.
For that to happen. And visualization, exactly, that's so powerful. Again, common sense, not commonly practiced.
Exactly.
But the best athletes, the best entrepreneurs, the best moguls that I've seen, they visualize so carefully, and they take that every day because they know the results that come from that, right? So it's great to hear that's also part of your process. And you said something cool too, which I may stop on that, part of the little bit of the geekiness of the conversation, the breathing.
Yeah.
Most of us these days, and guys, think about it, right? We wake up in the morning, most of us like already on our phones or driving or on our desks, and we don't even take the time to breathe well. I mean, let's take this moment, Chadi, to do a little bit of breathing. And if you're watching this, if you can, just take 30 seconds to do a good breath, which is really to inhale deep through the mouth and to really inflate the stomach like a balloon, because you want the breath to really go through you, and then exhale slowly. So the breath is our mass system of control. And it's amazing if we start to do that every day and to be conscious of it. Again, especially in that 15 minutes in the morning, because that's our 15 minutes to maximize our energy, to increase our productivity, and to really, really hone in our focus. Breathing is a critical component of that.
Right,
so
right.
Great to hear that you're doing that as part of it.
Absolutely.
Maybe it should be part of the journal too.
Yeah. Good. So we got, we said hydrate, we said generate. What's number 3?
Yes. Number 3 is activate.
Activate.
Correct. So after hydration, after generation, and a critical component of our 15 minutes from maximal morning is to activate, which means to really take the time to stretch in the morning. Because we just, when we lay down flat, right, for 6-8 hours,
you become stiff.
You become stiff. You wake up feeling stiff. And some people blame that on aging, which it could be if somebody has a disease or something like that. But most of our stiffness is happening because there's something in our bodies called the lymphatic fluids, which drains the toxins, drains the gunk from our systems out of our body. And when we're laying down, that system's not working. It doesn't have a pump to work. So you have to create your own pumping system. And one of the best way to do that is to activate by doing stretches, doing some basic jumping jacks.
Right.
Just that movement for literally even less than a minute would make you feel a lot more like resilient in your day, would make you feel flexible, and it will make you feel good.
Right. So I'll tell you what, for me personally, I've been lacking on the stretching part. Okay. But at minimum, I will do some push-ups in the morning. I will do some sit-ups or crunches, etc. I will do a little bit of squats, air squats.
Yeah.
And I will do a little bit of jumping jacks. That doesn't literally take the place of my workout for the day, but there's something simple that I can do in the morning to, for me to wake up my body.
Yes.
You know what I mean? To get the blood flowing.
Yep.
To give myself that vitality. You know what I mean?
100% Shadi. And I'm glad you mentioned this, because sometimes, with the culture conditioning that we have these days, some of us decide not to work out at all, not even to move. And our bodies were meant and really created for movement, right? I mean,
Right.
you think of our ancestors. They always moved. They've been climbing, doing different things. These days, most of us sit for most of our day, that's why it's considered the 4th global killer, sitting. And as a real estate agent, you know how much you sit every day, right?
Right.
Between the work in the laptop, the car driving, and whatever things that you're doing, a lot of sitting is happening. Now, with workouts, I would say one of the problems when I hear from clients like, why don't you work out every day? It's like, I don't have time. Because we've been conditioned that to work out, we need an hour.
Yeah. No, you don't need an hour.
You don't really need an hour for workout. Again, think about movement as the bigger circle of workout. Workout is only a small part of the movement.
Right.
But movement, doing jumping jacks, doing air squats, or doing wall squats, or just literally some push-ups, even for a couple minutes, would still give you amazing, feeling in the body. The blood flow better, the brain get nutritious, dopamine level for sure. If you get into the brain science and the neurobiology, there's great research going on. And actually even brain growth, happens because of workout and movement and action. Now, one thing I would say is, I don't know about you, Chadi, but I've dealt with this when I'm traveling in particularly, or if I'm actually in days that I feel like, man, I'm so crunched.
Why are you calling me out?
You've been traveling a lot. You've been traveling a lot.
You are like literally very clever. I got to give it to you. Okay, man. All right, so I'll tell you what he's referring to.
Yeah. I had to pull the traveling part. Now we got to get real.
All right, so basically, I think what you wanted to say is that it's critically important to be consistent within the activity and not something that you do every once in a while.
Exactly.
And, from my experiences, I've been traveling a lot. I'm living between two states right now. I'm living between the state of California and the state of Michigan right here. And,
and welcome to Michigan, by the way.
Thank you. I can't wait to go back to California.
Come on, the weather is better now.
I love the Michiganders. I love my family and friends here in the community. But I'm going back to California. So my foundation began in California. Yes. So my structure began in California. And that's where I feel like I'm very disciplined, very structured. And I'm waking up early in the morning every single day. And I'm running through my morning routine and I'm doing everything. And that's why I've been able to live to build the lifestyle, that I have, the freedom that I have, is because of all that structure that I have in place. But now what I'm sensing is that, when I do travel, I don't get away from it 100%,
right?
But I'm not doing here what I was doing there. And yes, my energy is a little bit down. Can you tell my energy is a little bit down? Never. But you know what I'm talking about. Energy is down, productivity is down a little bit.
Yeah.
And it makes a big difference. And for me, I am so grateful that I'm actually experiencing that right now because it activates, my awareness level.
Yes.
Okay. And now I'm aware of what do I need to go back to? And immediately it wasn't about let me learn something new. Let me learn a better way to do it. It was all about what is it that you were doing that you're currently not doing that is robbing you of your best abilities, and it was that. Okay?
Yeah.
So it's
I'm 100% with you on that part, and I agree with you about self-awareness because once you have that, then you can make change, and then you can really amplify and change and do the change that you want to make happen. Now, when it comes to workout, with just one final thought on that, and the activate component. We know it, right? If we're trying to make our workout to be so complex, I got to do 20 push-ups, I got to do 50, wall squats, or I even got to go to the gym for an hour. Most likely for most people will not happen.
Yeah.
Right? It's a lot of time where I don't have time for that. I'm busy.
Right.
So my challenge for you is practice what I call the rule of one.
Okay.
Right?
Tell me about the rule of one.
Say to yourself that I am going to do one push-up, one jumping jack, and one wall squat. And that's it. I guarantee you will most likely do more because knowing you guys as achievers and as go-getters and a person that you want to get things done, you would feel I can't quit and and you'll do more. And that's really the beauty about it. Now, obviously, don't do more you miss your appointment. But the bottom line here is that to break that procrastination, the best thing to do is actually to say, I'm going to do one thing, make it a minimal effort so you could make it happen.
Right. Because the hardest thing to do is to take that first step.
That's exactly right.
But, if it's something has an overwhelming thought behind it. It's I got to do 15, 20 items. You're more likely to go on the path of least resistance.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there couldn't be that much resistance or any resistance to just doing one thing one time.
Exactly. And that's what I said. Make it minimal. At least I'll do one. And if that's what it is, guys, that's okay. That's a good starting point. But you did what? You met the consistency principle that you're going after.
Right.
So that's activate.
Love it. So what's number 4?
That number 4, which is really a very important component of our maximal morning routine, and that is accelerate.
Accelerate.
Yes, and I know you like these kind of things, Chadi, right?
So let me just recap. We got hydrate, we got generate, we got activate, and now we are about to accelerate.
Yes.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yes. So the accelerate is, again, thinking about our body simply, although it's a lot more than that, as if you think about it as the most expensive Ferrari you have, right? What do you give it? You give it the best fuel so it could accelerate and you get the best performance out of it that you need.
Right.
And when it comes to our life, one of the things that we make decisions and choices on multiple times a day and has direct impact on our focus, and our energy and our performance and our productivity is what we put into our body.
Right.
Because what we input into our body determines the output that our body will
Your
have.
input determines your output.
Right? So, hey, I mean, we talked like about this in the past, like when it comes to decision fatigue and how sometimes just because of decision fatigue, people make bad decisions.
Right.
One of the things that actually lead to decision fatigue a lot of time is our morning food and our morning breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
So if I ask you, Shadi, it's like, how many choices do you think we make a day when it comes to our food choices? Give me a guess.
I mean, my wild guess would be I got to make a choice in the morning. I got to make a choice in the afternoon. Maybe a couple more choices for snacks and the choice around dinner. So I don't know. I'm guesstimating maybe 5.
Yeah, for most people, actually, they would think that way. And it's true. It's like, I got this and this and this. But the reality is research shows we make over 200 choices about food every day. Talk about decision.
You got to be kidding me.
Yes. Well, think about it. Just for those that drink coffee, right? Like, is it going to be a latte or is it going to be plain coffee? Is it going to be with fat or is it going to be with no butter? Is it going to be with sugar or is it going to be...
I see.
All these are
I was
micro.
thinking about like the final decision.
Yeah. Well,
Because I go through that, it's like, okay, well, in the morning I was like, do I place an order on the app? Okay, and do I want a small, medium,
That's
or
right.
large? So that's 4 already,
these
right?
are all decisions.
Or do I want to go to pick it up from, like go in and place an order?
Right.
Do I feel like having cream or sugar today, or do I take it black? So I get what you're talking about. I never really thought about it that way.
these are all micro decisions that we're making that does deplete our focus, that does deplete our attention. So that's why, frankly, with Accelerate, the component about what the breakfast in the morning, I would say I go back to the same rules. It's got to be simple. It's got to be practical, and it's got to be sustainable.
Yeah.
Something that you could make it and happen in every day. So that's why, for me personally, if we think about breakfast for most people, most breakfasts these days, they're loaded with carbs. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree.
And it's carbohydrates everywhere. I mean, even in
Right.
conference rooms, in meetings, in client sites.
Everywhere.
What do you see, bagels?
But hold on, as
go
real
ahead.
estate agents, there's always the lenders and the people that are trying to get their business who are bringing them bagels and they're bringing them donuts and they're bringing them candy. And every time, they walk in the kitchen, what do?
Grab some. Yeah, exactly. And again, if you start to think about food as an information code, not just as calories, but as a code that actually communicates with your brain, with your cells, with your energy systems, you start to think about food differently.
Yeah.
Right? And really think about it, Chad. I mean, I don't know if you've had this experience, but there are some days if I end up somehow eating food that wasn't really fueling my body, I feel it immediately.
100%.
Like you would go oh, I'm so energetic in the morning, and then you would eat a bad lunch, and you would feel like, what's going on?
Yeah.
What happened here? Like, I'm so
Yeah.
foggy, I'm so fatigued. And that's just because, again, it's a code that is so critical for your body,
Yeah.
and that input determines your output.
Right. So what they need is some positive input.
All right, since since you brought it up, Chadi,
Yeah.
and I thank you. I mean, really, and again, I'm not trying to sell something in here, but one of the things that, based on my research, that I've actually discovered is that most of us, unfortunately, are depleted in how much protein we actually eat in the morning. Right? If you think again about all these options you mentioned, the bagels, the donuts, and the croissants, and the cereals, a lot of carbs that we put into our body.
For sure,
in the
yeah.
morning. Right? And one of the components that we don't really get enough of, and is so critical for our brain performance, is so critical for energy production, so critical for our stamina throughout the day, is our protein input in the morning. So one of the things I always talk about is consider this simple ratio. And when you consider your breakfast, 1-to-1 means for every gram of carbohydrate, think I need to get a gram of protein.
So if you're having 20 grams of carbohydrates, you want to have 20 grams of protein.
Protein, exactly.
Okay.
The challenge a lot of time happens is okay, I got the bagels, I got all this, I got the cereals. What maybe some eggs? And I can't eat eggs every day.
Right.
And that's why, personally, for me, I decided to kind of create a protein shake that is just for us entrepreneurs, busy professionals, real estate agents, and really business owners, that is meant to be for us, right?
Right.
And that has all the components and all the nutrients that actually helps with that. But going back into the conversation of the Accelerate, your fuel that you put into your body in the morning, and that 15 minutes that you're investing, tremendously changes the trajectory of your day, of your 15 hours in the day. So make sure your inputs are positive, so you get positive outputs.
Right. So you have a shake.
Yes. I basically created a protein. In one of our products, we do have a protein shake that, again, was designed for us achievers.
Right.
And it's got all the components to kind of help with energy, to actually help with combating some of the stress and supporting really what I call the achievers' lives. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So somebody out there wants to find out more about it, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're interested,
Or, somebody maybe want to just here's the thing. One of the things that you did is, you gave us like a real framework. It's not somebody just saying, hey, you got to have a good morning routine kind of thing. And even though a lot of our conversation revolved around the things that you need to do in the morning, 15 minutes in the morning, so you can have 15 hours of, high productivity.
Yes.
You laid it out completely different than I think anyone from my audience has ever heard. And there's got to be some people who may have, some questions about it. Maybe some people just want to friend you and follow your journey, et cetera, kind of thing. Maybe they just want to be inspired from you on a regular basis. Maybe they want to check out your shakes and products and services, et cetera. Where's the best place for them to learn more about you?
Yeah, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. And I promised from the beginning of this podcast, and I told this to Chadi, is my whole perspective about what I do is I got to deliver value first.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm not here to sell you something, frankly. I'm here to truly deliver value to you. So
if there's anything we're selling them on,
right.
We're selling them on, why they need to, really have some kind of structure in place for them to become more productive.
Absolutely. And because of that, truly like what I wanted to do for your podcast audience is to share with you just one resource. And this has nothing to do actually with something you'll buy. It's actually a free resource that I put together. I put a lot of energy and a lot of time and a lot of effort toward it because I truly believe that it's a valuable resource for people. And it's really our free ebook.
Okay, free ebook. Okay.
Yeah, it's a free ebook that kind of will introduce you into some of the things we actually talked about and get deeper in some of it. So we talk about attention, we talk about amplifying self-care, we talk about family, we talk about how to create a life that is you being happy, healthy, and wealthy.
A life by design.
Yes, a life by design. And this resource, again, is available free to you, and you could get it through our website. It's called www.umaxa.com/achiever. And I know you could put
I'll put if you go to shadibazzi.com, I will have a link that directly takes you over there. How do you spell Umaxa?
Yes, thank you. So again, the link is www.umaxa. That's YOUMAXA.com and then /achiever. And that is a free ebook that you would get. I would love actually to hear your feedback on it and some of the content that I put in there. Because I got to share this with you. Recently, I was talking to a client and he got the ebook and was able to get it. And he's like, hey, I wanted just to tell you something. Did you by mistake forgot to put a password or something for this? Because it's free. I was like, no, it really meant to be free. He's like, wow, this is something I would have actually paid for. And that to me is the highest point of gratitude that I could really be thinking about when somebody says going to be paying for something that I'm really offering for free just to create an impact in the world and help people to live better, live healthier, and live happier lives.
Love it, love it, love it. And one of the things I'm going to say, you're sending them over there, and I'm sure they can link to all your social media profiles from there, etc. I'm going to suggest that a lot of you, or all of you, check out his YouTube channel. And you can link to it. You can find a link on his website, umaxa.com. Because on his YouTube channel, he's got a lot of videos that are more personal development related, more productivity related, and less scientific related.
Yes. Or integrating the science into real life.
Yeah. So, because, me personally, I value, the scientists that have really revealed to us, how to become better human beings, etc. However, I can't really focus on the lingo or really get it.
Yeah.
So I like to hear the scientific terms delivered in a way that maybe somebody with many college degrees can understand, if you know what I mean.
Frankly, Chadi, this is the reality.
So that's why I like the video.
My job is practicalizing the science.
Yeah.
So we could really use it to improve our energy, enhance our productivity, and amplify our attention and hone our attention. And that's like the beauty about that's why I love what I do and I really enjoy it because that's my job to actually take the science, the latest research, latest cutting edge science, again, in neurobiology, in the science of performance and the psychology of achievement and bringing these into things that we could really use every day and we could transform our performance and our life.
Love it. Well, I enjoyed having you here.
Thank you,
Our
Chadi.
audience definitely enjoyed having you here. And for our audience, if you really enjoyed this, which I know you did, pass this on to a colleague of yours that can benefit from this. Give us a 5-star rating, a positive review. Make sure you check out umaxa.com. Mazen, is there any final things you want to say to the audience before we wrap this up?
Final things, man. Time went so fast.
I know.
I really just want to say I'm so grateful to be part of this conversation. So grateful to be part of your life. I know that for us as achievers and as busy individuals, and we got a lot of things going on in our life, and for you to give some time to this and to be there in this conversation, it means a lot to me. And I hope I delivered the value that I always say I want to deliver. And if you enjoyed this, yes, please do what Chadi just said. And I look forward to definitely having further conversations with you, either through Umaxa or through Chadi's work.
Awesome. Well, man, I appreciate you for coming on here today and, selflessly.
We'll take it.
I like to invent words. Selflessly, contributing, to the community that I love so much and the people that, we work so hard for, etc. I believe you made a great impact, so I appreciate it.
Thank you, Chadi. Thank
you
so much.
We'll have you on next time to have part 2 for this.
Yes, we'd love to. We'll talk about the evening routines. I actually have a full model for that. That is just as exciting as the morning one.
My next trip to Detroit, we're setting that up.
Sounds great. I look forward to it, Chadi.
Thank you very much for watching this episode. We'll see you on the next episode of Top Listing Agent Show. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.